Okay, we're going to try and make middle school math just a little bit easier to understand this year. I love this quote by Einstein. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So I'm going to try to explain it simply, and if you don't understand it, then I don't understand it well enough. In the years I've been teaching, I've heard this statement from students way too often. I'm not good at math. Not only have I heard it from students, I've heard it from parents at conferences. Oh, I don't do very good at math. I've heard it from teachers in our building. I'm not very good at math. And what we as math teachers do is pretty common is we say, well, we're going to add one word to that sentence. And that one word is yet. You've been doing math since you were born. You're just not good at it yet, or you don't think you're good at it yet. You're much better than you think. Math can really be broken down into three things this year. It's arithmetic, it's algebra, and it's functions. And we're going to keep it very simple to show you if you understand the difference between the three, things start going together a little bit better. Arithmetic is simply 3 plus 4 equals something. Arithmetic is you have a rule and you find the answer. 3 plus 4 is the rule and the answer is 7. Algebra, you have the answer and you got to figure out the rule. That's all it means. So in algebra, you have an answer of 7. In this case, it's the same function. You have an answer, you're going to find the rule. And a function is simply, I don't know what the rule is, but when I find it out, I'm going to find the answer. So a function is, if you change a rule, you find the answer. So the question marks are just asking questions. What happens when you have an answer? What makes the rule? We start with arithmetic, and we go to algebra, and then we go to functions. It all starts at arithmetic. When did you start arithmetic? You started learning it at the ripe old age of probably being a toddler. I use the in your high chair counting Cheerios analogy all the time. That's where math starts, and that's where you loved math. You have to make a mess. You got to move stuff around. First, you started counting. You went 1, 2, 3, 4. You started counting on your fingers. Then you started making little groups. You put them together. You added. You had a group of 2. You had a group of 5. You put it together. Then you had a big group, and you started pulling groups away, and you subtracted. All of math, algebra, and functions comes from those three things: being able to count, being able to add, being able to subtract. And you could do all three of those things. But there's a couple things that happen as we start adding layers to math that confuses people. And I'm going to try and clear that up for you now. First of all, in arithmetic's pretty straightforward. 3 plus 4 is the rule. We find an answer. When you started arithmetic, there was no question mark. We just added those or subtracted them and found an answer. In algebra, when we are, this is what we do in algebra. We have the 3 plus what is 7. So this is where a lot of people don't like math, is because all of a sudden, if we have the answer trying to find the rule, we change the question mark to an X. So as soon as those letters get in there, people started, oh my gosh, there's a letter. I can't do that. So that's all we did. That's all the X is a letter that helps us find the rule. On functions, since there are 2 question marks, we can't put the same letter down, so you got to use different letters. So we have X and a Y. So you can have more than one letter. All that means is they are different numbers. So if you change the rule, you find a new answer. Okay. Now, it just so happens that you can use any letters you want. It doesn't have to be X. It's always typically used as X, but you could use R or Q or W, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But we typically will use in math X and Y. They may not be the greatest letters to use, but that's kind of what we're stuck with. So that's all I want you to keep in mind. I always go back to this thing right here. What is arithmetic? Then what is algebra? And then the functions. We'll be focusing primarily on the arithmetic and algebra part, but really functions are kind of the same thing. So as you watch these videos, I'll have a video ID for you to show me that you have watched this video. And to prove it, the video ID for this first video is the 5 of diamonds. The 5 of diamonds, that is your video ID. So if your teachers are making you watch this, or in my class, that's how I know you've watched this. 5 of diamonds for the first video. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.